And my recommendation would be to fill it. Do the practice. The more you do the practice, the more the quality. You know how to reveal the quality. It's always there. We just have to meet it. And what happens when you create a strong bubble of perception? Okay, I can explain it this way. Don Juan would talk about two different things. It's the same concept, but accessibility. He would point out that Carlos made himself way too accessible to human beings. He would complain, he would try to justify himself, he would meet somebody and tell them everything about him, just making myself. And there's nothing wrong with making yourself vulnerable or available, but he was out of balance. He was doing it too much. It was a habit. He would go to it in times of emergency. He would just immediately resort to pettiness, anger, frustration. These were his patterns. These were his habits. They had become a part of his constitution to the point where he couldn't see them. Somebody else would have to point it out. But Don Juan would point out that you are making yourself too accessible to the forces of the world, but you are not making yourself accessible to spirit, because you can't do both. It's a slider to degrees. You're trying to find yourself happy in the middle. But if you're so far in availability to the world, it's going to be very difficult. And this is just a way of talking about things again. It's just we're putting things in groups so that we can say, oh, I get that idea. The idea is we're filling our bubble of perception no matter what. What are we filling it with? Is it purposeful? Is it intentional? Are we making ourselves available to solutions? Are we making ourselves available to creativity? Are we making ourselves available to quality? Are we making ourselves available to personal power? Because if you're in repetitive, habitual responses and thought patterns, you are not available. If your bubble of perception has collapsed on itself and now you're angry and you're frustrated and you're acting like an animal, spirit is less available. I'm not going to say not available, because that's pretty absolute, but it's not that available. Like you're making it less available. And so, of course, this practice is mirrored around what I want. And it sounds like it's a lot of what you want too, because that's why you're here. You want to make yourselves available to spirit, to the forces of the universe that are a little bit more rarefied, that you have to feel to experience. Can't really be talked to. We try to talk about it, but you have to feel it to understand it. Well, understand is a terrible word. You have to feel it to truly experience it. Talking about it will not help you experience it necessarily. Talking about it can give you guidelines on how to get there, which is what the Four Directions practice is all about. It's just a guideline on how to get there. It's functional grouping so that you can remember, so that you can do it, so that we're not just talking shit about the bubble of perception. We're legitimately establishing it, connecting with it, engaging it, moving with it, and that will end up looking very differently for everybody. For me, it looks like a doctor of acupuncture doing research and having a 500 square foot stone house with windows that are just carved into the building. And there's a 150 square foot separate building that I use as my treatment room with a sizable garden in the back for me to grow herbs for the community so that I can do medicine for the community for next to nothing. I like sourdough bread. Donna, you need a treatment and you know how to make sourdough bread, so let's just do a swap. I'll throw some needles in your body to make you feel better and give you some herbs from the garden, and you give me sourdough bread. Why the hell not? I'm cool with that. But I'm just painting the picture of my desire, what my practice is taking me toward. And that is conscious creation. That is the law of attraction. The more that I align myself to what I want, the more I fill it with emotion and how I want to feel, you will hear everything that Abraham Hicks has ever said in all of this if you really look at it, because we're talking about the same thing.